This series of back exercises and stretches is really good for when we have back pain, flank pain, thoracic pain, difficulty breathing with endometriosis. So let's get started. We're going to start on our hands and knees. And you're going to bring your arm through and back out and up towards the ceiling. Now, as we're doing these, I want you to, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, pay attention to what your jaw, your breath, your shoulders, your belly, your pelvic floor, and your feet are doing in the sense of tension. Those are the areas that also like to brace and guard when we are in a fight or flight state. So we're just going to kind of clue in and see how those are doing. If we're holding our breath, if our jaw is tight, bring it back to the middle and we'll switch sides. Sometimes we have a tendency, mine was to hold my breath. And people hold their jaw really tight. And when the jaw is tight, it's a communication to the brain that we are in danger. And when that happens, everybody else is going to get involved with protecting. So we can communicate with the brain by loosening up and relaxing our breath and those other muscles. And that's a message to the brain to say, everything's okay. Just do what feels right here. You don't have to go as far as I am. Don't compare. Come back to the middle. And this is where we're going to do a little dip. Now, if you've had surgery recently or you have a lot of adhesions in the belly, that might feel tight and uncomfortable. So we're just going to go to the edge of what feels like a little bit of a stretch, which might not look much past neutral, and that's okay. We're just starting to get some mobility in that area. And as you start moving, just check in with that jaw. If it's tight, just let that jaw, the lower part of the jaw, wiggle a little bit. Let that energy out of there, that stuck energy. Let your belly really let it go as you dip down like this. We're going to come back to neutral and we're going to go around in circles. This one feels really nice for the low back. I've got some modifications up in the corner for anyone who has knee problems. And again, just checking in on those muscles that might have the habit of tightening up. The other way in the circle. Kind of play with it a little bit. What feels nice? As you come back to the middle, we're going to let your knees go wide and you're going to sit back and just give your arms a nice stretch. Let yourself settle in the middle here for a second. You can, if you have neck pain, just let your neck roll back and forth on your forehead. This feels nice. When I have headaches, I like this one. Sometimes I put an essential oil on my mat and just let that permeate around me as I'm doing the stretches. And reach over to one side, and you'll feel this as a nice stretch along that flank area, kidney area in the back. Again, you can put your head down and totally relax into that stretch if you want, or you could stay a little bit more active. Do that little body scan and check in with those little protective areas. And then walk your hands to the other side. Couple breaths here. Give that other kidney area a nice little stretch. Checking in with those areas of protection. And we're going to go on our back. Now, these next two are kind of interesting because we're going to end up in the same position, but it feels different doing it in a different order. So we're going to start with the knees bent and let them come to one side and then the other. And this you generally feel in your low back. So again, check in. Maybe we'll go from feet up. Check in with your feet. Are they gripping? Are they nice and relaxed? Your pelvic floor, your belly, your breath, your shoulders, and your jaw. So you could stay in one side if you wanted and just breathe in and let that settle. Some people like that more. And that's fine. I want you to become a little bit more what we call interoceptive, aware of what the body is wanting. And some people like dynamic, so whatever feels nice. And come back to the middle. Now, what we're going to do, you're going to just feel the difference. Go on your side. You can use a pillow if you want, or your arm. Put your hand on your temple and just let your chest open towards the ceiling. Now, do you feel the difference? Where do you feel that? Ultimately, we kind of look like we're in the same position. We end up in the same position, but it definitely feels different. So again, you can be dynamic if you want. This one's a nice one for the tightness that we get around the diaphragm. If you have trouble breathing, we don't get enough thoracic rotation in our life. We're very linear in what we do. Forward and back, not so much rotation. So it's nice to get some rotation in there. I'm just gonna see how that might feel different than the other one we just did. Okay, now we'll switch to the other side. Again, assess whether you want to have something there, a pillow or something to come back to lean on, rather than holding yourself up. Some of you will get this far and feel restricted, and that is totally fine. No comparisons. It is what it is. I do these a lot. I've practiced, and I definitely am tighter on one side than the other, which can totally be normal. Checking in with those that body scan, those little muscles that tend to protect. And then we'll come back on our back. And I will recommend, if you have back pain, there is another good exercise in, which one is it in? The pelvic floor series. So you might want to go check that one out as well.